Welcome to Trivial Debates.
On the show might think Dave's black.
Yeah.
He's all pink on the inside.
Anyway, welcome to this week's edition of Trivial Debates. I am your host, all the way from the armpit of the United States, Dylan Gonzalez. I'm from New Jersey, if you didn't know where that was. We have some awesome new debates this week. Each week our panelists will be judged and scored on their arguments for facts, passion, and creativity. And our panelists this week are... Starting to my right.
Benny G from the UK.
Dave Mader from Burlington, Ontario.
Jeff Mader, likewise.
And we got Dave Lafayette here as a spectator.
Spectator, maybe fact checker if he knows.
Yeah. From North Bay.
North Bay, yeah.
Represent. Anyway, how the show works, there are 6 rounds plus a speed round by our top 2 panelists. The categories are movies, television, music, sports, history, wild card. And the top 2 panelists will advance to the speed round. We want people to be passionate about their arguments, but not personally mean. But I don't really care if you are or not, to one another, or as much as possible. Keep in mind you can skip if you're listening to a new debate by looking at time indexes in the description and going to the battles that interest you the most. You can subscribe to our feed on iTunes, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram. Oh, Jim, are you going to play?
No, I'm going to go lay back down.
Oh, well, Jim's here too. The bear has awakened.
So,
anyway, whether you're listening to us on iTunes or watching the YouTube version, all links and information can be found in the episode description at our website, www.trivialdebates.com. Without further ado, let the battle begin. Ooh, ding, 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 la-di-da. First question, first category, movies. What is the best drug-induced sequence in a movie?
I'll go first.
All right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, get ready. See this movie? Across the Universe?
No, actually, I haven't seen it.
People at home.
By the way, for those of you at home where you can't see it, Dave's just holding a DVD in my face.
This is drug-induced sequence. Let me tell you a little bit about this
I don't
movie.
even remember the drug-induced.
Remember
He's like, you see this drug-induced sequence?
Remember they go to see...
Why don't you tell people what it is first?
I'm trying to. Stop interrupting. Here we go. They meet Bono, right? He's like the doctor guy.
Oh, that's a check. That's a check against you,
right? Like they meet him in New York City, Bono, right? And then he's like, here, have some drugs. And then they all get on the bus and they take the bus out to somewhere to meet with the guy, right? Mr. Something or other. And anyway, they get some drugs, and then he goes, ooh. Right? And then it's like they're naked underwater, right? They're swimming around, and then they're like, right? And they're looking at and I'm pretty sure they have an orgy, but I can't confirm that, but I'm pretty sure there was an orgy.
Like, you cannot confirm nor deny that an orgy took place.
An orgy probably takes place.
Was Bono involved in this orgy?
No, he had left by that point.
He went back on tour.
He kind of like leaves them, right? And then it's all really surreal. Like it's all like animated and moving around and all kinds of crazy shit's going on. And then they're like, hey, it's Prudence, and she's got her roller skates on, and she's got like a tutu with a horse's head on it, and she's like, ah, right? She's gonna make out. So
I just want to point out that, like, I can't believe how different Dave is from, like, not being on the podcast to, like, being on the podcast. He's like 2 different people. He's like got like an on and off switch. Okay, noted.
That's really it. But very surreal and crazy and dreamy, and like that's what drugs are.
All right,
drugs are like crazy.
That's what drugs are.
Oh.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Well, the drugs though.
Well,
I'll go next.
okay.
I'll do. I picked Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I picked
Okay.
the sequence where
The whole movie is basically
The
a
whole-
drug trip.
I could pick the whole movie, but the sequence at the end of the movie where they're in the hotel room and the hotel room basically like becomes whatever they want it to become, and it becomes like a room where it's all like a little like a box prison, and it's like flooded, and it's all like going crazy in their minds. But yeah, pretty much the whole movie. Like I also like the sequence when he walks into the casino and he looks at the carpet and the carpet starts turning, like the dragons start swirling. It's,
Yeah, and everyone turns into the fucking like dinosaurs, and they start like
yeah,
fucking each other.
yeah.
Yeah, that movie makes me want to do drugs.
That
Like
yeah,
during
yeah.
and after and before.
Yeah, well, in that movie they do so many different types of drugs. They do like LSD, they do cocaine, they do ether, they do pretty much every drug. I looked at the list; it was longer than any other movie.
Like,
So-
we were driving to town. We had 10 pounds of marijuana and
Yeah.
a pack of cocaine,
Yeah,
but two full cases of beer, a bunch of ether,
yeah,
mescaline.
yeah. And you've seen bats, and that's another sequence. Pretty much the whole movie is like him tripping on drugs.
I fucking love his like cigarette thing as well the whole time.
Yeah,
I've always wanted one of those. I
And
don't even like smoke regularly. I've
And-
always wanted one of those.
with Dave's movie, that's like one sequence. It's like 10 minutes where it's going ooh,
And they're like lying in the field like ah. Right?
Did you
Sounds
name
like the
it?
sound of music.
Yeah, you did Across the Universe.
I know, but did he name it? I never heard him say
It's
it.
called Across the Universe.
Yeah, he did. He showed me the DVD.
Yeah, but how are the people at home listening?
He said it. He said
I
it.
said it.
He said
He
it.
said it.
And then woo.
He's seen it. He's
Yeah, he
seen
did
it
that,
too,
dude.
Jim.
yeah.
Shit,
So
taking his
Dave's
clothes off.
stripping.
Get real.
So really, most of his movie is just like kids like moving to New York City and getting in a band, and it's really not much to do with drugs. It's like it is a lot to do with Vietnam, and other than the part with the heroin too, he didn't mention that part with the guy that's the soldier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's got more than one drug scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he forgot about it.
fucked up and neglected to include that.
You said one sequence, and it's got a few sequences, so that's the best.
Okay, I've
sequence.
seen enough of the movie to know that like the whole the Across the Universe is also like kind of a trippy drug movie throughout the whole thing.
Mostly, right? Because there's that part where they're like,
Then why didn't you say that?
I'm good. I'm saying it now.
That doesn't help you.
Late edition.
Right? You know, like it's a footnote. And
A footnote.
it's a footnote. And
It's a footnote.
you know, like there's like a little help from my friends. All Beatles songs in this movie you didn't know. Every song in this movie is Beatles, but it's an original story, right? And then
Those
there's
people that don't know that are the people that live under rocks.
right, and it's like a little help from my friends for doing that song, and then they're smoking the weed, but there's nothing actually in their fingers. They're right, like, and then but they're like, oh, pass me the joint, right? But it's no joint, right, Betty?
I get you, man.
Yeah.
You really painted the picture for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then later on, the buddy comes back from Vietnam.
Dude, he just like hijacked you. You got to get this back, Jeff.
No, I thought it was moving on to Betty. I thought.
All right, let's have Benny go.
All right. I throw down the beginning sequence from Half Baked, and obviously the Half Baked is
Nice.
much about drugs. But I like that one because it's really kind of sweet. It's like, yeah, I've heard people don't get high the first time they smoke, but we did. Woo. And they go to, they have a like little joint behind a convenience store, and they go in, and like one of them's like picking up a candy bar off a shelf, and it's like massive, and he's like taking a bite of it, and then one's like drowning in this giant slushy. Obviously, he thinks he is. And one's reading a comic, and like the comic book characters like pat him on the back. And obviously you get the usual kind of trippy stuff that doesn't actually happen when you smoke weed. Unless you guys have put some better stuff than I have. But, it's a really nice friend bonding experience in that scene.
Okay.
Yeah, we can all relate to that. The social aspect of weed and like doing it with friends and stuff when you're young. Yeah, so, touch my heart as well as make me
Hit him on a personal level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what?
Made me think. It makes me think of all my friends and like the shared experiences we had whilst using marijuana.
One of them was getting baked and watching Half Baked.
Well, like that. Man, there's that and how high and all them shits as well.
That's where the quote in the prison scene when the guy comes up to him and he goes, "Give me a cocktail."
All right, so what? Fuck, I was gonna ask a
pointing question.
pointing question to kind of like hammer it down a little more.
So nobody picked the obvious one.
What?
It's a kids movie, Disney, Puff the Magic Dragon, man.
Yeah, right.
That's a fucking trip. The whole
Why aren't
thing.
you playing,
Alice in
Jim? I
Wonderland.
think you need.
I need to go back to bed.
What about
It says the
Willy
guy drinking
Wonka.
his Angry Orchard.
And,
Yeah, that's pretty trippy.
Yeah. Are you in this?
Yeah, plus sugar's kind of a drug.
Sugar is a definite drug.
Okay. Obviously, mine's the best answer, so you can just give me the point now.
Yeah, you brought the DVD, didn't you?
No.
I didn't know Chris Seymour was here.
Guys, I brought the DVD.
Guys,
It's
guys,
2-disc edition.
Guys,
Guys, listen, guys.
guys, listen.
Anyway,
The thing is,
All right, so in each one of your scenes, what is the most like in your face moment of the drug inducement?
When they're all naked and they're underwater, and you're like, this is probably have something to do with sex and orgies.
Okay.
And they're all laying in the field and they're so friggin' high, which is right after. Right, and you're like, they just banged.
They just banged.
like in my movie, like everything isn't real. Everything, like they can see anything. They see demons on people's faces. They see like like so many different things throughout the movie. The movie is not even really based in reality, except for maybe right at the end. Like other than that, it's the whole movie isn't real, basically. So that's why it's the perfect drug induced movie if you're gonna go for just drugs, because there's so many of them in it.
Mine's like, well, as I say, it's not like that surreal. It's like pretty pedestrian and kind of surreal standards, but I say it's the heart, man. It's the heart of the scene. That's what gets you. Because like it's relatable. You see a little bit of yourself in that movie. I think everyone does. It's smokes weed anyway.
Right, happy.
By the way, if the FBI are listening, none of this is true.
This isn't a real podcast. What are drugs?
I'm not a real person.
This guy
Okay, I didn't think you were a real person for a while either.
You're really a Canadian guy putting on a British accent.
Exactly. Yes.
It's actually just Jody.
Be quiet, guys.
All right, I'm giving it to Jeff.
Even if it was Jody, it would be loud. It would be, he'd have a loud British accent.
boys, this is over. Boys.
Boys, you're done.
Yeah, move on. We're done here.
We're move on. We're done here. Jody, best.
Yeah. I picked the best. Your answer sucks. That's it.
All right. So we're
That's the
moving.
best. I just don't even need to say anything other than that.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to TV. Which TV duo had the best chemistry together, but it's a guy and a girl?
You have to be a male, female.
Thank you, Professor.
I'm just helping you out.
Just clarifying what a guy and a girl is.
What if it's one character that's both a guy and a girl?
No, this is kind of
I'm just fucking
gender normal,
Okay.
kind of gender boring. So we'll start with who went last. You went last, so you go first.
Okay.
Because you have something I don't even know what the fuck it is.
The Good Life. Oh man, and this is not even gonna play for any of these guys. Fuck.
I don't know what it is. What is
It's
it?
this old 60s British show, and basically the plotline is it follows two households. There's this family, this pet couple called the Ledbetters, who are Margot Ledbetter and Jerry Ledbetter. And they're like, they're rich, because he's got a really good job in the city. Obviously, he drives an hour every morning, so that, you see him doing that a lot in the show. She's like a stay-at-home wife, and she's very particular and very fucking, really posh, and, talks about tradesmen and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, tradesmen,
Okay.
fucking sharp. She's always got a problem with tradesmen, something's supposed to be delivered and it was not to par. And there was kids in the street, that kind of thing, and she had to
Okay,
deal
but
with
you
someone
but you didn't
speaking
pick them.
properly. No, I didn't pick them. And then next door to their house, their best friends, is this couple called Tom and Barbara Good, who they basically, Tom Good used to work with this Jerry guy at the, business that he works at, so they used to do the same thing, but he decided, with his wife, to, get out of the rat race and become completely self-sufficient. So they basically have, a farmhouse where, they've got, pigs and chickens in the background, and they grow their own, vegetables and all this sort of stuff. And like that's kind of supposed to be the thing because they kind of they're self-sufficient, but obviously they haven't got like a load of fine things, and they're always like going around town to do odd jobs for people. So they and like I'll trade you this like manure for this feed for the chickens and all that sort of stuff. And like obviously Jerry and Margot are proper like, oh, how could you do that? And oh, you're making your own clothes. Oh my god, like. Like they think they're proper.
So it's like the dichotomy between like.
Yeah,
but what's cool? But what's good about Tom and Barbara? What
I'm
makes
getting-
them the
I'm
good?
getting them.
What's their chemistry?
Their chemistry, because it's like that's the thing. Jerry and Margot are always arguing, about not like savagely. I mean, they obviously love each other, but about money and about this subpar and it's terrible.
Tradesmen.
Yeah, tradesmen and terrible time commuting, and it's getting worse. And the Conservative Party are not getting enough of a grip of the country and all that sort of stuff. And then Tom and Bob are good, even though they've got less money next door. They're just completely like madly in love and like completely happy all the time. They've always got these cute little scenes, and they're always joking around, and they share a really nice sense of humor. And there's this one beautiful fucking episode where it's Christmas, and like Ledbetters are supposed to have their Christmas delivered in a van, by tradesmen. Like with the turkeys and all this, like 2 turkeys, goose, and like the tree, all the trimmings. They're supposed to have all this massive fucking delivery that's obviously really expensive, and like it doesn't come. And the Goods like invite them over to their house where they've got like their own crackers that they made, and and they all have a wonderful fucking great time and like bonding, and it's just beautiful, man. But as I say, I'm not going to describe the whole series. Go and fucking watch it.
Fucking trades. Just like the Jeffersons.
Like the British Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Back in like 60s, 70s, America and Britain, they had a lot of those kind of very obvious, like, this household is this, his household is this.
Right.
Like, Love Thy Neighbor and Upstairs, Downstairs, and
Totally.
Jefferson. But,
Alright, go on to Jeff.
Oh, okay. I picked Arya Stark and the Hound from Game of Thrones. And the reason why I picked these two is because they're basically polar opposites, but they kind of find a way to relate to each other and hate each other. After the Battle of Blackwater, the Hound, kind of takes Arya, finds her, and after he leaves the battle, which kind of puts him in a certain situation when he meets Arya, because Arya could blame the Hound and for and everyone he was involved with for the death of her father. So they have this dichotomy with each other, and then he's trying to take Arya to Robb Stark, her brother, and her mother to try and get some money or trying to get something to get away, and then they get killed, and then spoilers. Sorry.
Fucking Jeff.
You're really bad between tonight and
what am I
last
saying?
night.
I'm not supposed to explain what
We
happens.
need to put a spoiler warning in the beginning.
The show's all spoilers.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
it's
Like
all-
in your beginning of your fucking, your
Spoiler
alert.
Yeah.
Welcome to Trivial Debate. Spoiler warning.
Exactly.
We ruined everything.
Don't listen to us if you want to watch things.
weird.
But and then the way that the relationship ends is really great too, with Arya basically leaving the Hound for dead, and that just kind of sums up their whole relationship. Like she could have put him out of his misery, but she wanted to see him suffer for, even though she kind of liked him, because even now they're kind of like in the House of Black and White, they're saying like she's like, I hated him, and he slaps like, stop lying. Like she actually liked the Hound but hated him too, so that's why I picked them.
Dave.
Okay, I chose Mulder and Scully from the X-Files. The truth is out there, guys. Just so you know. Right?
I've heard. Yeah.
Guys, truth is out there.
And they're the best. They're the best duo.
They're the best duo, especially a male-female combination. You have the ultimate skeptic in Scully, Dana Scully, played by Gillian Anderson, who's a doctor rooted in science. And then you have the ultimate conspiracy theorist, kind of out there guy who thinks that everything, there's way more to what you think there is, particularly with aliens and UFOs, but just with the whole supernatural thing and how that kind of plays out through the series. They're FBI agents looking into these incredibly crazy, weird scenes or cases, right? And the whole journey they go on throughout the course of that series is really incredible, and the way that they kind of play off each other, the sexual tension. I don't hear about any sexual tension in these like things. Like,
I would be very disturbed if there was sexual tension between Arya and the Hound.
yeah, of course you would.
There's plenty of sexual tension in my show. I just forgot to mention.
Well, I kind of want to go the other way, not the traditional route of the male-female duo, right? So I want to.
That's totally fair.
Well, we know, like, I think I'm pretty sure they bang eventually, right?
Who? Arya and the Hound?
No,
No,
Jillian and like Scully and Mulder, like they fuck, right?
I haven't gotten that far in the
He's too
series.
skeptical. He'd be like, I'm going to drop my
You don't
pants.
even
She'd be like,
know.
yeah, right. I'll believe
I
it.
think, I think it was alleged that they did.
Yeah, they totally did.
Yeah,
You know,
it,
and there was-
it was alleged.
And then there was that whole part where like he left, and then it was Robert Patrick, right? He was on the
Yeah.
show for a while. That didn't work. You needed these two with David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, great actors. And now they're talking about bringing them back and rebooting the show or whatever. They're gonna bring them back after all these years. Like clearly, an amazing duo. Like clearly,
For a not great show, even Dave doesn't like this show.
I love this show.
He does not love this show.
Do you? How much do you love
I
it?
love it. It's amazing.
They eventually banged, I think.
The only thing he had to talk about the show was the fact that those two probably banged. He didn't even
That's
bring.
all he talked about.
It was pretty much all he talked about. He didn't bring up any episode of why it was good or why.
There's so many. There's too many to choose from.
Oh, what's the best episode with those two? You know?
Like the earlier stuff, like the season 1 stuff, like where they first getting to know each other.
Oh, that one, yeah.
If I were you, I'd go more on the fact of how she constantly defended him, even though she never really believed him. But
Yeah, there was actually.
Actually, I'm still wondering why Jim's not
Huh?
playing.
Yeah, Jim's off.
I don't know, because it's entertaining to watch things.
You could literally swoop in here and win this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, you can give me the point now. That's good.
All right. Well, okay. What? Because you're all tied right now, but I'm leaning towards one person. So, what was the most testing aspect of their relationship? Arya and the Hounds.
I would say the end. You know, like with Arya, running away and not really trying to help the Hound during the fight with Brianna Tarth. Once he basically broke his leg, he was fucked. That was the most testing moment. Like, was she gonna help him? Was she gonna leave him for dead? Was she gonna kill him? She chooses to leave him for dead. I think it was based on the fact that she didn't want to put him out of his misery, and she didn't really want to. That love-hate was there with those two. So, and she was becoming a different breed of killer. Like, he basically trained her, and that dichotomy.
He turned her into a psychopath.
Yeah, but he was also right. Like, he basically said a whole bunch of times, like look around. Everyone's been fucked. Like, your father fucking killed your brother, your mother, like you're.
Oh my god, that's so loud.
Like, you hanging around here is not good for you. Like, you're a Stark. You're bound to end up like the rest of your family, basically. And Brianna Tarth was the opposite opinion of that. Like, no, I have a vow to save you, and she basically chose the Hound side. She didn't choose to go with Brianna Tarth, but she also chose to leave him for dead. So kind of like that dichotomy is interesting.
Okay, we'll go to Tom and Barbara. What was the most testing part of their relationship?
Well, the most testing, because that was kind of the running theme of what they had going on.
It's near you here. Let's go down a little bit and get Jim sitting, looking Jim at something. Or not.
Some snarky comments.
I'm fucking hopping in because all three of your answers are shitty.
Thanks, man. Where was I?
What was the most testing part of their relationship?
Right. Well, yeah, because basically, Tom Good, he worked at this, big company. He was pulling in a good wage, okay? And then, they had to pull together. Him and Barbara had to have a real fucking long-ass talk and decide were they going to do this, because there's no going back. Like, he burned his bridges. It was a cutthroat kind of, industry. He wouldn't be able to get back into that. So if they're going self-sufficient, that's all they had. They had the house, and they had the plan, and they had each other, and that was it. And they fucking, it was tough sometimes, and they were strapped for money. And he's doing all odd jobs over town, and then obviously, you're fucking self-sufficient. You generate a packs in when, you're not financially planned for that stuff and whatever. They had to, and it was hard because obviously they had the good life. That's why the show is called that from the outset. But obviously, they had to, sometimes they had to eat humble pie and go next door to the Leadbears and say, look, we're kind of short. Like, can you help us out with just this or this? I mean, they always would, but because they always had the attitude that, like, yeah, we knew we were, like, our lifestyle was right, all along. So it's, hard for them to maintain that relationship as well. Plus, as I say, they, so busy with the house all the time, they were kind of their only friends. So they had everything riding on it, man, and that was just, like, the general theme, which is why you just you were much more into their, like, relationship. And, they were a team, like, doing all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, Mulder and Scully. What's the most
So many times, man.
So many times what?
So many times they were tested. Like,
About what?
He has no idea.
With Skinner, right? Like Skinner was the boss guy, right?
What about Smokey Man?
He was always fucking with them too. He was smoking cigarettes.
He was smoking cigarettes.
Right? He was a pain in the ass, and he was Mulder's dad or something. But
how is that?
No,
how does that test their relationship?
I'm on a tangent, but it was the thing where something really emotional happened to her, and then he consoled her or something. So,
all right, you're dead.
All right, does it have to be a duo? Can it be a trio?
No, it's a duo. Guy and a girl. I'll give you the trio just because you missed the first round.
All right, fucking Three's Company, dude.
Okay.
The whole premise of the show is their fucking three relationships and what they get in and out to, and constantly together. They all share friends. They're always together no matter what.
Were they having an orgy?
No,
Dave's interested.
unfortunately.
Dave would vote for this.
Menage a trois?
No, nothing at all. They were all just friends.
I don't believe that.
So
If they recreated the show, that
would not be the case. No,
Yeah.
it would
the
be.
first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be how Jack Tripper gets away with banging both of them, and they never find out. But, if I don't know how much Dylan knows about it, but
A little.
The
It was
Jack Tripper.
It was what's his name?
John.
He died. John Ritter.
Yeah, John Ritter. But they all needed a place to live. They were all friends, so they basically approached the subject at the time that was unheard of. Jack was gay, and the whole, relationship that they had, and then all the ins and outs and funny fucked up shit they got to do, week in and week out. But to answer your question about the biggest turmoil that they had was, you had Mr. Furley, who was a great character, Mr. Roper, who was a great character. And just keeping up the charade that Jack was gay. That was their biggest turmoil in their lives. Was
Why did they have to keep that charade up?
Because at that time you wouldn't be allowed to have a guy and two women living together. It was
Who says?
Society.
Society says so?
Yes.
Like they do about the color purple?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Gotcha. What are you doing over there?
It fell.
Fucking gravity.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
And I can answer Dave's question if he'll give me a bonus point.
No, I'll have a trivial debate myself about that. But what?
The answer I already gave. Their biggest turmoil was she never believed him, but she always
that's
backed him
true.
up.
Yeah, I said that.
No, I said it.
I said it.
What do you mean you said it? Did you puppeteer him?
That was,
Shove your hand
that
up
was
his ass?
before he jumped into the battle. So
No, I said it, and you were like, yeah.
I took credit for
So
it.
gotcha.
Yeah, I knew that already.
Yeah. Mulder Scully.
I'm gonna give it to Benny because Benny had the good passion. I think he did. I think he did a compelling argument.
The Good Life.
So,
The good
Now I'm going to go check this out.
Check it out, yeah.
Now I'm going to see it. Oh, this guy's driving to work every
I just
day.
want to tell you right now, Dave does not even fucking like the X-Files. He told me. Because I posted about how I watched the first season, and Dave was just like, could never get into that show, and I love aliens.
He picked it because you brought it up about the last show.
It's like, it has to be in the conversation, I think.
By the way, side note, if you're wondering why we keep saying last show, we have a botched episode from last night because, technology sucks.
Jim lost his wallet.
And
Jim
I lost my
Jim
wallet.
lost.
And my wallet's still missing. So if you are the person or individual that has it, please send it back.
Yeah. Don't say
Take
who.
the money out, that's for you.
that's your finder's fee. All right. Next round, music. What is the greatest supergroup from 1965 onward? Because I guess 1965 was the year of like the first supergroup. So Dave,
Yes.
you did pick up a pretty big group,
Of course.
a staple.
I'm advocating for Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Sometimes Young. He's not always there. He's kind of like D'Artagnan.
Fucking Bert and Ernie.
Fourth
Good
Musketeer.
analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
They all came from successful groups individually. Crosby from the Byrds, with Young from Buffalo Springfield. The other two guys came from somewhere. I think. Help me out.
Stills.
Steven Stills, who was also in Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I knew that.
And
Yeah.
Nash.
Nash. He was like. He was in something.
He was in the Hollies.
He was in the Hollies. Great. All these groups are great. You know, classic music. Classic.
Dave is totally laughing at you. Like other Dave is just like.
With him.
This is the one I wanted to pick, and I just want to say I know a lot more about this band than you.
I'm questioning your pick, Jeff.
Yeah.
So.
They make good music, eh? Like.
Yes, they do. Some of my favorite of all time.
Yeah. Like they were like a law firm. They didn't even have a name. They just put their last names, right? It was like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Like they were like, hey, let's make some songs.
Could you have come up with a more boring
Like,
analogy?
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? That law firm?
It's like Bob Lawler.
I don't know about that, but you know that song "Helpless"? It's on the band's documentary.
Oh my God! He somehow managed to work in the band.
Yeah, that song from Neil Young, but it's a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song.
It's a
does it-
Young song that they play on Deja Vu.
On Deja Vu, yeah, right. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
and it's great. It's a great song. There is a town
fuck,
in
here he
North
goes.
Ontario, right?
Okay.
With dream, comfort, memory, despair. You know, like.
Okay.
So you get the point now. It's good. Supergroup, easy, best ever.
All right, whatever.
Maybe the character from South Park on the show. That's what I've learned.
Jeff.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, I picked Journey.
It's not a supergroup.
It is.
It is technically a supergroup.
Started
Unfortunately, it is a supergroup.
Started off as Santana. Like a Santana, like...
It's like
back
two guys
here.
from Santana.
Yeah, they were in Santana, and then basically they you could say like Fleetwood Mac was a super group as well, like very similar. But I picked Journey because you said 1965 onward, and
Yeah.
Journey dominated the 70s and into the 80s. They had hit after hit after hit. I'm not saying I like it or it's my favorite. I like some of the songs. I think some of them are pretty good, but they had hit after hit. Don't Stop Believing. Love and Touch and Squeezing. They had Faithfully. They had so many songs. Like
Separate ways.
Highway road.
But they had one of the biggest fuck ups in all of history.
But that doesn't mean they weren't a
The
super
ending of The
group.
Sopranos?
No.
What's their fuck up?
When they brought Steve Perry in, they became a great super group, and that's why.
To me, they're just a band. Like I don't get it. Like
They
They're
are
not the band.
They're not the band.
Weren't they the born and raised in
Shit
South
album.
Detroit guys?
yeah.
South Detroit.
I don't even know their geography.
They don't even know the joke.
Is that their fuck up?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such thing as fucking South Detroit. It's fucking Windsor, Ontario. Shoutouts to Paul
Oh,
Saunders.
I know that the bottom of Detroit would be South Detroit.
But it's not South Detroit. There is.
What do you
It's
mean?
There's buildings.
well,
there.
the bottom there is a South Detroit, but it's not that South. It's not that South Detroit.
Why not?
Why not? You could have been born and raised there.
Right by Joe Louis.
Yeah.
Right by Paul Saunders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why? Like it just Windsor, Ontario is North Windsor, Ontario, and then South Detroit would be right across the board, right there.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Geographically, there's a South Detroit. There's nothing.
There's no. There's
Like, does nobody live there?
There's no. It's not like when you say like, oh, it's like like South Jersey.
Okay,
New
if you said
Jersey.
what's South Manhattan downtown?
Yeah, you call it downtown. There's nobody calls that area of Detroit South Detroit. It's just Detroit, or it has its own burb name, which I don't know what it is, but it's not South Detroit, as far as to my knowledge.
This
it's
is the
not.
biggest problem in the journey.
It's a very big.
Aside from them
Good point.
Aside from them existing.
They
Yeah.
dominated it.
I don't like. To me, like they're not a super group. Really, they're an offshoot group. Like, they're. I love Journey and like their music's great, but
Of
like,
course you would.
they're no Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
The sad thing is here, Dave should be arguing for Journey, and I should be arguing for
I know
Crosby, Stills, Nash, and
you
Young.
guys.
So what's the definition for supergroup again?
You have to have two or more members that were in other bands and then formed a group.
But were like well known and
Okay.
already like previously established.
Right.
So like for example, like probably the most well known would be like Cream.
Right.
So like Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and he just died. What's the other guy?
I forget his name.
Oh my god.
Whipped cream.
Oh my god, you idiot. Fuck, what's his name? Anyway, so they all came from pre-existing groups. Eric Clapton was in the Yardbirds. Ginger Baker. I don't remember the other two off the top of my head, but that's like the example of like supergroup, if you will, or like Perfect Circle is like a more contemporary one because it was all
Them Crooked Vultures.
Them Crooked Vultures, which is
That's Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Jack Bruce.
Jack Bruce, thank you. So it was Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters and Nirvana, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, and God, I am so
The guy
bad
from
with
Led
names.
Zeppelin. The
The guy
bassist.
from John Paul Jones,
John Paul Jones,
from
yeah.
Led
Who's that?
Zeppelin. John Paul Jones from
what
Led
did
Zeppelin.
he-
He was in Led Zeppelin. He's the best member of Led Zeppelin. He's the coolest member of Led Zeppelin. John Paul Jones is fucking awesome.
He's not the tall, cool
John Paul
one.
Jones is cool.
He is very cool. He's very prolific. But anyway, we're not doing a podcast about John Paul Jones. So we're going to move
Crosby,
on.
Stills, Nash Young. When you get the point.
So we're going to move on to Benny. Benny
Sometimes
picked an
young.
interesting one.
Me first and the Gimme Gimmes. Yeah,
Punk
good.
rock band, kind of.
Hell yeah.
Sort of a pop punk band.
Gimme Gimmes.
Yeah.
Gimme Gimmes. Yeah.
Me first and the Gimme Gimmes.
Yeah.
Play some fun fucking music.
Yeah,
You'll like at least some of it.
it's real.
Which brings me
Dave has
to
no-
Don't be so
Taste.
sure.
Don't be so
that
sure.
Dave will like something.
Well, if he likes X-Files.
He loves Journey too.
I love Journey. Oh yeah, Journey's good.
Me first and the Gimme Gimmes, they're like, well, they got the origin band's pretty fucking good for a start. You've got a guy from Foo Fighters. Everyone loves the fucking Foo Fighters. You've got Fat Mike of No Effects fame, and it was on his Fat Records label. I don't know how much you guys are into punk and stuff, but like Fat Records produced some of the best fucking punk albums
From like the
of any,
90s.
yeah, like from when he was starting music and
Like
stuff.
no effects from the 80s, right? Like late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s and onwards and there. And then loads of, I mean, Fat Records, just because they had European deals and stuff, like loads of the old punk rock compilations and stuff, like where I first heard stuff, were on Fat Records and all that. And then two guys from Lagwagon as well, they were a fucking good punk band. But the reason I like it is because, like, they deliberately made an album, each album had a different theme. So, like, one was covers of show tunes from, like, musicals, one was covers of, like, 60s classics. And so, like, each member was kind of stretching them, for every album they were stretching themselves, like, artistically, even further than they had in their previous groups. And, you know, doing stuff that they wouldn't have, like, done before in their other groups. And obviously, so they had to kind of, they really formed a new band. They weren't just a super group like, oh, I'll stick you guys together because you're good and fucking go. They like really put a lot of effort into making like a new band out of the supergroup. I mean, like their harmonies in all of their fucking albums are really good. Like they're one of the best harmonizing bands around, I think. And as I say, they didn't even start as a proper band, and we're used to playing with other people. But that's cool.
Nice. They're a supergroup. Why?
He explained it.
I don't know, but it don't make sense.
What doesn't make sense about it? They all came from pre-existing, well-known bands
They
to
did?
come together.
Yeah, No Effects, Foo Fighters, and Lagwagon aren't as big, but they're
Dave,
big.
you don't know dick about punk rock.
Foo Fighters?
What? What?
Foo Fighters?
Is that what he said?
Yeah, the Foo Fighters. You don't know who the Foo
Oh,
Fighters
I
are?
know who they are. Yeah.
Good.
They're Nirvana guy.
They probably.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you know that because we said it.
Yeah. Nice.
Tell me a Foo Fighters song.
Learn to Fly.
He's lucky.
I bet you couldn't name you a second one.
Tell me another one.
Calling All the Angels or whatever.
It's just a lyric from that.
Is it the same song?
It's the same song.
No, there's another one.
I think you should just be disqualified for questioning for something they already
Come
explained.
All right, whatever. We'll move, Jim.
Dave is like that guy. You ever see the skit of SNL where Will Ferrell's the devil and he
Yeah.
can't write a song? That's Dave.
Oh, I had one last point. They all,
Oh, okay.
Sorry, they all they all did different stuff in the band as well. So like at least one of them was doing vocals all the time, guitars, drums, etc. So they all swapped around.
Is this a recent band then?
They're still growing. Going.
Okay. I never heard of it.
Who from the Foo
That's not
Fighters? What,
surprising.
what guy?
Who's it? Taylor Hawkins.
Jim something.
Where does he play in the Foo Fighters?
Hold on.
He's probably like.
Let me consult the article.
Fact check.
No, Chris Shiflett.
Let's do the
Oh, okay.
Foo Fighters.
drummer.
No.
Probably guitarist, I guess. Or maybe he's the bass player. He played lead guitar most of
No,
the
the drummer for Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins.
Okay.
Right.
He's a good drummer.
So it'll have been rhythm or bass, I guess.
I went with this well-known Canadian band called The Band.
Are you serious? Okay, good.
Was originally going to go with Velvet Revolver, but
Originally, you were going to go with something else.
that's who I rate. Well, Velvet Revolver popped in first, and then I ended up going with Traveling Wilburys. But actually, if you look at Velvet Revolver, it doesn't fit the definition of superband, even though they said it does.
Why? What's wrong with
Because it's
what-
members of Guns N' Roses with...
It's three members of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Dave Kushner, who's like a pre-established guitarist, and Scott Weiland. Why is that not a supergroup?
If it was just one guy,
Yeah.
then yeah.
I don't know.
And it
Anyway.
would just be like...
Your argument's okay.
So I
but you're not
picked,
going with that anyway.
No. I picked, I'm just going with my original, or my pick from the botched episode. Traveling Wilburys, Roy Orbison, Tom Petty, Dylan Harrison.
Me?
Bob Dylan.
I know, he just said Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you.
know. But you were like, Dylan, me?
Bob Dylan is associated with the band, though. So
And, thanks. Actually, listened to him through my father, which, obviously was introduced by all of them by my father originally, but they were all guys that had met and got along, just basically the reason it even came to be was because they were like, fuck it, let's just do it. They wanted to jam together, to have fun, to make an album. They made a Volume 1 and a Volume 3 album. I don't know why they skipped the Volume 2 and just did it, who knows, to be trendy, who knows, but if you listen to it, I mean, the guys just stand alone themselves are just musical legends, and like I said, it was just a jam because they wanted to.
who was the one unknown guy?
Oh,
The bassist or something? Like, he was the bassist from...
Jerry,
I don't know his name.
Yeah, he's always the other guy. He's always,
yeah, it's like the other guy in Wham.
yeah.
Or like in New Kids on the Block, like those two guys that don't matter.
NKOTB, yeah.
I can't believe we just mentioned New Kids
But,
on the Block.
We had it on the show.
you didn't listen to the last
No,
one.
I guess I did.
It wasn't anything to sustain. It wasn't anything that they did together because everything else around them folded, and they, wanted to do, an album because they needed money. It was not about any of that. It was just about getting together, friends, and jamming.
Oh, dude, it was fucking Jeff Lynne from ELO.
Yeah, that guy.
How,
He's the other guy.
he's the other guy. Fucking Jeff Lynne? You forgot about Jeff Lynne?
I did. He's usually the forgotten
Is that,
member.
is he famous?
He's
Yeah.
he's he's like the only guy that's been with ELO. He's the founder of ELO.
What's ELO?
Electric Light
You
Orchestra.
know who ELO
No,
is?
I
You know,
You know that song,
Evil Woman.
or like Telephone Line?
Yeah.
What? Oh, yeah.
But that's my argument. Legends of music, just jamming as friends, making legendary music.
I'm giving it to Benny again. He made the best argument.
I'd actually have to agree with you for once.
Once.
Yeah.
We agree on a lot of things, though.
I know.
Dave, you didn't get shit that round. I didn't even give you a fucking check or a point for anything. I gave Jeff a half point, but I fucking hate Journey.
Did I get a check?
You got you got some stuff. You have more cred. You got nothing. How could you undersell Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young?
He managed to do it.
You managed to do somehow you managed to undersell.
They're okay, yes. I just knew they were big names. So,
You probably don't know shit about them either.
I know more about them. They got that song.
You didn't even know who the other guy was.
He's the guy that didn't matter. What the hell's ELO?
It's Jeff fucking Lynne. He's the guy from Electric Light Orchestra.
That's-
Huge band.
What's that?
That's not famous. Okay.
What the fuck? What is your definition of famous?
Like,
If he knows him or not.
if I know it, you're famous.
You're famous now, Dylan. He knows your name.
Yeah, you're famous.
All right. Moving on to sports. Which athlete had the most embarrassing post-sports career?
Oh, Pete Rose. Holy shit. God, where to even start? Guy that had a phenomenal Major League Baseball career. Absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but ended up fucking it up later on. as it came out when he was coaching that he would bet on, had a gambling problem, bet on teams, and would even bet on his own team, which, bad enough he was being in the sport, and then betting on his own
What
team.
team was he on?
The Reds.
Reds, okay.
So, there's a guy that, like I said, had a huge career. Went from, playing the game to being a legend. Oh, that's my word for tonight, legend. To being a well-known coach, to just basically flushing it all down the fucking toilet later in life because of stupid mistakes that he made for his gambling problem. And I think the biggest thing with it is, you see guys now like fucking murdering people and fucking beating kids with sticks and shit. And it's alright, they don't even get fined, but Pete Rose has no business being in the Hall of Fame because he made a mistake. But
And he lied about it for a long time.
yeah.
Right, that's,
So
There's like no
What's
retribution
embarrassing?
period for
Yeah.
him.
So
Because he
if,
deserves to be there and he's just
So
constantly
if they told the truth, would they have?
But is
People
that
feel
like?
better.
But is that embarrassing for him, or is that embarrassing for?
Absolutely, it's embarrassing for
MLB.
him because he deserves both, actually, but he deserves to be there. He earned it.
he'll never.
Yeah, but he was doing shitty stuff.
he'll never be in Hall.
And that had nothing to do with what he earned in his career.
Yeah, but isn't that like putting someone who did a lot of steroids into the Hall of Fame?
And they will.
And
Yeah,
they will.
exactly. They'll do that. But Pete Rose bet on some games, and he had there's no. It's not like they said after 20 years we'll consider you to be there.
Okay.
It's you are banned for fucking life. You will never be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he knew the rule and he broke it. He knew what the consequence would be.
But is you?
His punishment doesn't fit the crime.
But he always knew what the punishment was if he did that.
And so do other people that break the rules, but they constantly get made exceptions for
But
that.
he's doing it based on whatever the scores he did, right?
Yeah.
So as a so you can imagine an analogy. Let's say an analogy. Say somebody did the fastest man in the world, and now he's a coach, right? And he's betting against
Right.
one of his athletes, but he has a world record, right? When he was an athlete, do you punish the guy for?
We all know
on
Dave.
principle, right?
Dave Mader's the fastest man in the world.
Certainly the fastest man out there today.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's very embarrassing. I think for him, even if you still bring it up or whatever, he doesn't talk about it. It's and like I said, there was no retribution period. I mean, fucking people can commit murder, go to jail for 10 years, get out on parole, and they're supposedly rehabilitated. But Pete Rose bet on some shit, and for a guy that deserves to be there. But I got to give a shout out to Vince McMahon for putting him in the WWE Hall of Fame. So
Wait, what?
at least he's in something.
Why is he in the wrestling?
That's embarrassing.
Oh, because he was in wrestling skits.
He was in how many
WrestleMania?
WrestleManias back? Like
Yeah, he was.
He was
five
in-
WrestleManias.
Who was
back.
He was a wrestler
Who was
after
being-
a baseball player.
He was not a wrestler.
No, he used to come out for WrestleManias, and somebody would like.
Was it like
a
Roddy
Kane
Piper?
No, it was either
Kane.
Kane
It was
or the
Kane.
Undertaker.
It
would
was
give him
always
a-
Kane was like giving him the tombstone.
Yeah, it was Tombstone Power Driver.
I'm
and that
like,
was the skit.
What is this?
That's embarrassing.
Hey, at least he got into a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's saying it's a good thing.
That's not like to be a baseball player and go into the fucking wrestling Hall of Fame. That's embarrassing.
Hey, it's sports
I
entertainment.
think you have something against wrestling.
I don't have anything against wrestling. I just think that's like kind of a downgrade. But
But I think your question is the most embarrassing post career, right?
yeah,
So I'm not sure.
yeah,
that just adds to it.
So
that's
what
like
is his
post
But
career.
what is his career after?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what was his career
What was his
afterwards?
career? I mean,
So I'm not sure that your criteria meets up.
What do you mean? His most embarrassing post career?
Yeah.
He has nothing to do with baseball.
But he got thrown out of baseball.
Right. That's his life.
But it wasn't like he was done his career and then this happened. It was like
It didn't happen until after his career was over.
right.
All right.
Which, based off
Well,
the definition you said, it could happen later on in their career.
Yeah,
You did say that.
I did say that, but I was kind of thinking of just like something. All right, well, we'll revisit it as we go along. So I'm gonna move on to Jeff. I'll move on to Dave because Jeff's clearly texting somebody.
let me go
He's sending dick pics to somebody.
Amanda.
He said he didn't. He was, okay, listen. I got this in the bag. Hulk Hogan, a fucking train wreck of a life since leaving wrestling, officially. Where do we start? I think we need to start with Hogan Knows Best, his reality TV show that he did.
Okay.
Right? And his fucking loser's son getting fucking arrested for drunk driving and I think crashing and killing somebody or something. I don't know. He did something fucked up. And then like there was like taped phone conversations of Hulk Hogan like talking to his son in prison and saying like, you know, like not even like one bit saying you need to take responsibility for this or anything else. It was just about how he could sensationalize it, turn it into another reality TV show that like they could make more money off of, and like blaming everybody else but his family, and it just came across extremely poorly. Then like eventually like him and his wife break up and she goes off and fucks some younger guy, but he ends up making this like sex tape that eventually leaks, and like, you know, it's I haven't seen it yet, but you know.
Yeah, he downloaded it last night. That's why he was up so late last night, Jim.
That's why I was naked.
He was dead. Yeah.
So
That's not something you want to put on the internet and say that's why I was naked.
Hulk Hogan's sex tape. I don't even like. Hulk Hogan was like 60 something at this point.
Yeah, your cutoff is like 50, right?
Yeah. And then what? Okay, and then recently, the worst thing he did was a phone conversation that came out where he was basically saying some really crude racist stuff. Came out where he was mad at somebody, I think to do with his wife or something, and he said some really reprehensible stuff. And to this point, despite the sex tape and all like the reality TV show bullshit and everything else, WWE, like where he had wrestled for all those years, they took his page off. They took all of his merchandise off the website. They took him out of the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and they completely severed ties.
Pete Rose is part of that, by the way.
Yeah. Pete Rose is still in the Hall of Fame.
He
Hogan's out.
took his slot, yeah.
Okay. So I just think like Hogan has completely destroyed his reputation. Whatever he had, he always had a reputation as being a dickhead, pulling a lot of bullshit backstage. A lot of wrestlers don't have anything good to say about him to this day. You know, Macho Man Randy Savage was fucking done with him for years. Bret Hart has said like he doesn't like anything to do with Hogan. Hogan fucked him over in a lot of ways, and I just think for this guy who was the number one guy in wrestling, known as like this icon, was a popular actor, movie star, whatever. Even though those movies are good, but it doesn't really matter. Like he was a well-known kind of character, and he kind of fucked it all up.
Didn't he make that fucked up movie too?
Which one? Like
With the sex tape?
No,
Suburban Commando?
I don't know something, but
What was your Karate Kid 4?
I don't know, but you said you were thinking of something else. What was your
That was what I was thinking of. That's kind of what I'm
was
thinking
that
of.
movie he made where the guy's throwing the dog into the water? And, you know, like I forget.
What about his cameo in Gremlins 2?
Wait a minute. You were thinking more along that?
Yeah, like that's like
A guy that spent his whole life building something in his career and then flushes it down the toilet. Dave has, if you want a fact check, you don't even need to look it up. First of all, Hogan's No Best was successful, made tons of fucking money. His kid did it, not him, so why is that fucking embarrassing after his post-career? And third of all, it had nothing to do with a fucking phone call making racial comments.
What do you
None of
What do
that.
you mean? He made the actual comments.
It wasn't a phone call about some random bullshit you're talking about.
Well,
it was an
that
interview.
racist either.
Yeah, it was something that happened years ago in an interview
Yeah, it was an interview, not a phone call.
that came up, and like Benny said, it really wasn't even that racist. There's plenty of other
It
things.
doesn't matter. It's still racist.
Well, he was talking about racism. Like,
Yes,
is it
it
racist
wasn't-
to talk about racism?
I don't know.
I never, but what career? He had so many comebacks, right?
Right.
But he's not coming back from where
so
he
you don't
is.
think he's
but,
coming back?
But he's not coming back from where he is now.
No, right?
No. There's no way.
There's
he's coming
one
back.
thing to never say about wrestling. Never say it.
But he's not coming. No,
It's
I mean,
WWE.
no,
They can bring
but
Hulk Hogan back
he has
in
the
fucking 2
entertainment.
seconds.
Right.
Do you
Like,
know how like?
Not now.
But like his divorce was so like gnarly.
How he made out? He started fucking banging Brooks's fucking friend that's like 30 years younger than his wife.
That's
hot as
disgusting.
fucking hell.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, he's an embarrassment.
Yeah, banging some chick 30 years younger that you was hot as hell is
Dude, that's
embarrassing.
gross. That's what fucking 60-year-old old fucking creepy.
It might be
Hulk
gross to you,
Hogan.
but how is that embarrassing?
It's just
We'll see when you're 60 and some
60,
guy
what are you
goes
gonna
like,
fucking
"Hey,
do?"
wanna fool around?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and your first question about it did reflect that on him in that phone call with his son completely. Like
makes him look
it
bad.
made him look like a terrible parent. And it just made him look opportunistic.
But you know
Like,
what? I've never heard of a phone call. I'm not to say it didn't happen. I'm sure it happened. But there's a lot of people that probably are not in tune as much, and they still probably think of him as a hero.
He's completely,
You know,
he's
you know what I'm
completely
saying? They
delusional.
has, you know what I'm saying? Because he's cemented, you know, from the 80s or 90s that in their.
Jeff said it best.
You know?
New entrance theme music coming down fucking 2 weeks from now. He's the biggest thing in wrestling again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
WWE will never have him back.
Really? Just like they'd never have back the Ultimate Warrior. Just like Randy Macho Man would never be back. Just like Kevin
Bret
Nash
Hart.
would never be back. Bret Hart would never be back. Scott Hall would never be back.
After they
It's
severed him
business.
in this way,
It's business. They've severed a relationship before.
the way that they did this, I don't think so. I don't think he comes back from this.
They screwed over Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And he came back.
No.
All right, we're moving on.
They pulled him out of the
moving
Hall of
on.
Fame.
Shut up. We're moving on.
They pulled Hulk Hogan out of the
All
Hall of
right.
Fame.
Yeah. It's a bullshit Hall of Fame. All they have to do is put him back in.
Well, if a baseball player can make it, it's
Right.
really bullshit. All right, move on to Benny.
Alright, I've picked Chris Knuckles Nyland, the hockey player, for one simple reason, because it doesn't even, to be fair, this might not even count in the confines of what we're saying here, but for the reason that he is particularly embarrassed about his career and, well, I suppose sports career, as opposed to like other people being like, ooh, you know, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't even know about him, but there's a documentary called The Last Gladiators. It's basically about him and a few others, like when, you know, just after the Broad Street Bullies era, and like when the NHL was obviously kind of violent, and basically it was kind of legit for managers to bring in goons, essentially, or at least like enforcer types, and that was their main role in the team. He was kind of one of those, and he was a good one. He mainly played for the Montreal Canadiens, and fucking, like, he'd always fight for his team. Like, people used to call him dumb and a goon, and, you know, maybe they weren't wrong or whatever, but, like, he'd been brought in for the particular set of skills that the coach, like, thought he had. He did a great job with doing that. Like, as far as what a, you know, coach or a manager brings you in to do, he did it very successfully. The Montreal Canadiens, you know, a lot of their, like, fancy, you know, like a lot of their fancy kind of forwards and scorers who went that hardcore, you know, were able to do a lot of other things because he was out there looking out for him. So obviously he got in a lot of fights, people saying bad things about the organisation and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, his fellow players. And he had a bunch of injuries, you know, obviously as you'd expect, and cuts and stitches and lost teeth and blah blah blah. And the fans were all with it, and the city loved him. But then obviously he got in a lot of heat with, I mean, he was there for a while, but you know, the changes in the league and the people wanting to kind of take the violence out of NHL and all that sort of stuff. And he kind of became one of the main scapegoats because he was well known for doing what he did, really. So that was kind of harsh. And then the fucking Canadians, after he'd kind of given him his all, you know, just didn't want to deal with the political hot potato, so they traded him to Boston, which, like, if you obviously know about hockey, you know that's the fucking, like, the big rivals. And, like, as whenever he was playing with Boston, he used to get booed by the fans. The other members of the team weren't really happy to see him because obviously, you know, in his previous few seasons he'd been beating the shit out of them and stuff. It took him a long time to, like, earn respect and what have you in Boston, at least a little bit of respect. But again, he was still having the political problems, and and this is getting, like, right towards the end of his career now. I mean, I know it's still in sports, so again. But he had, like, personal problems, mental health problems. Many doctors said it was obviously from, you know, that many blows to the head and fights and all the rest of it. He had a problem with, like, prescription medicine and stuff. And again, he's a political hot potato, so Boston got rid of him as well. Back to Montreal again, where he was surprisingly embraced by Montreal, like, more than you'd expect, you know, going from Montreal to Boston and then back to Montreal. But by then he was kind of, you know, shot. I think one of his eyes was dodgy, and all this stuff. And he kind of just got phased out of the game. Like, you know, he was God's gift when they brought him in and said, "Oh, you know, you're the perfect guy to fulfill this role in the team." And he fucking, you know, he bled the colours and, like, was always there for, you know, his teammates and whatever else. but like the organisations were more than willing to drop him like a hot rock when it wasn't kind of suitable for them. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of went out of the league just shortly after that, and the documentary made me cry, man. It did. I wept. It was so fucking sad, just like him talking about himself and his career, and like talking about what he's gonna do now. And he had like, I've got these bunch of job applications to be a security guard in this, and like I hope they think I'm good enough.
So he basically does nothing.
He does nothing, yeah. And I think he's hasn't quite got his mental health issues, obviously, and his drugs and all the rest of it. And that was the thing, which when you talk about embarrassing post careers, like I just could tell that he was so embarrassed about like in himself, and that really cut me, man. Gosh.
Jeff,
Dennis Rodman.
don't look at me like that.
If you're gonna pick somebody that's embarrassing, I don't think he's embarrassed of himself because he's Dennis Rodman.
He has no shame.
But for a guy that was a great basketball player, was probably one of the best defensive rebounders.
On the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
With Jordan.
Won multiple championships, was an all-star, was one of the best, players at his position. Everything after his career was crazy. I mean, he wore a wedding dress on TV for publicity for something.
His marriage. Is to be marriage.
It was to Carmen Electra?
Yeah,
right. Who he married for like a week, and then he had an affair with Madonna, which is insane. He was also
nobody wants to fuck Madonna.
No, but I just think it's crazy that this guy is who he is, and
Isn't Rodman bisexual?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but he also has kids.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm just asking. I'm not saying that's embarrassing, but
no, it's not embarrassing.
I just like
probably the way he does it.
He was just kind of like he did whatever the fuck he wanted. Like
true.
Like he was very like unapologetic about who he was.
Right. But just some of the things he was publicly an alcoholic. His life was kind of on. Like he went on Celebrity Jeopardy. They had to, fire him because he was getting drunk and they couldn't control him. Came back and did, okay, not a little bit better than he did before. He wasn't as, he kind of quit it. Now he's going to North Korea and he's playing basketball there, hanging out with Kim.
He was kind of nuts on the Celebrity Apprentice when he was on that.
Don't you have to be embarrassed by it to be?
What?
He doesn't fucking care.
But no, he's embarrassing. Like you ever watch something, you go, oh, like you feel sorry for it. Like that's kind of the way I took the question.
You think he's like a train wreck?
Yeah.
I don't think his post and pre is much different. I just think it's who he is.
True.
I think it was pretty embarrassing.
Got a very crucial part.
He has a very very embarrassing
career. Post basketball career.
There's so many things to pick from. He was in WWE, which is kind of funny. We've already talked about that.
Rodzilla. Seems like every embarrassment ends up there.
He was a member of NWO and was fought alongside Hulk Hogan. He had a TV show called the Rodman World Tour. He led in action movies called Double Team and Simon. He won multiple Razzies for that.
Double Team with
it's all shit he's proud of. It's not.
It's nothing to be proud of. It's embarrassing.
What's the North Korean thing about? Why does he do that?
He says that
because why not?
He says that Obama and America they don't understand Kim Jong Un, that he's a good guy and that they should talk to each other because they both like basketball. That's like one of his quotes.
Huh. You see, I had no problem with it at all. Americans, politicians, love to demonize countries that they don't get along with. Like they tried it with Russia,
right?
But they can't really get away because Russia they could nuke us, they could fry us. Right. So that's why you don't hear as much. They actually smartened up recently, and there's not as much anti-Russian propaganda.
Yeah.
So to demonize him for that because he's an idiot and because you don't like that particular country.
I wouldn't say I'm demonizing him. I'm just saying it's embarrassing that he's doing this kind of stuff. It's kind of like he's an athlete.
The stuff that CIA and the NSA and NWA and
we're getting really off topic here.
He just dropped an NWA.
I just think it's weird. It's just weird. It'd be like
straight out of North Bay. Straight out of North Bay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not defending our
He's just an odd
He-
person to pick to
he's
represent,
a-
even represent basketball.
Yeah, he was
in,
a-
like North Korea. Like if it was like a LeBron James or something, I think it would have a little more like but it's
Yeah, but LeBron James is an
I am not surprised at all that he did it. It's
No,
just before and after.
What if it
you know?
comes down to it where there's going to be a nuclear war and he's like, Kim Jong-un, man. And he's like, all right, fine. Would he be such a embarrassment then?
Right? Yeah.
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 I guess Dennis Robbins our only hope. That's
Right.
That embarrassing.
I'm giving it to Jeff.
Yes.
Dave, you were close. You were really close.
The most embarrassing post-career. Robin isn't embarrassed about what he does.
Okay, but I don't care what he thinks. But to everyone else, that's what I wanted. Like, who has the most? And to Jeff, his is like that is the most embarrassing career. That's what I was looking for. Now I think Pete Rose is like, yeah, that's embarrassing, but like he,
Like you say, everyone wants to forgive him.
I don't think everybody does.
At least me and Benny made
a lot of
arguments for
people.
people that lost everything.
I think Benny made a good argument.
Benny's guy was all during his sports career, though. That's what I had a problem with.
Yeah, plus it's not like...
Yeah.
it was
I
more-
said
more
I
his-
said
his
the question
feelings,
post, like after, so that's after. He stopped being a basketball player and just went on to just be doing one fucking insane thing after the other.
Absolutely. He's a trainer.
So there you go. Moving on, history. What is the greatest wonder of the world?
Jeff, because he wins every fucking round, even though he's got bullshit answers.
He didn't win every round. Tie with
All
Benny.
but one.
No, Benny's won twice.
All right, Jim. We'll start with you then.
I have no fucking answer. It doesn't matter what I say, so...
Jim's getting crabby. He does have an answer. He just doesn't want to answer it.
I'll start if you want.
You can go.
Niagara Falls, greatest wonder of the world. It's a big fucking waterfall.
It's a big fucking waterfall.
Fucking so much water flowing through there, and it falls off a cliff, and it spins. People look at it and they go, "Woo!" Right, and then they gamble, right, and then they go see like Styx. It's like what else could do that but Niagara Falls,
Where's
right?
Sticks at? They're playing a concert?
Yeah, they're playing in Niagara, whatever. It's amazing to look at. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how many times you go. You're always like, wow, look at that. Wonder of the world. Pretty cool.
Okay. Okay. I'm really interested in Benny's answer.
Wait, you expect me to follow that?
Hey,
My wonder of the world is the Earth's crust.
which is technically is not an arrangement, but whatever.
The
We're not
arrangement thereof.
on the list, but if you can sell me on it, man, sell it to me. What's impressive about that?
The Earth's crust?
The arrangement of the... Well, look, bear with me, right? So, you've got... At the end of the day, you can provide answers like Stonehenge, or you can provide answers like Grand Canyon, or you can provide answers like Niagara Falls, or you can provide answers like all of this fucking natural shit. But
What's the
then-
answer for Stonehenge?
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get it. Or whatever, like any naturally occurring, like, holy shit, look at what our amazing world has done. But, like, at the end of the day, the Earth's crust contains all of that. So, if you can basically give it as one item, which you can, because the Earth's crust, then technically it contains all of the other wonders. Plus, all those wonders like Grand Canyon, for example, and it is fucking wonderful because I've been there. It's incredible and it's amazing. All like those huge
Big hole in the ground.
meteor craters. It's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Lots of
I was saying in a good way. Big fucking waterfall, big
Yeah.
fucking hole in the ground.
Big fucking water.
Big's back. Good. Big's beautiful.
Hey, if you have to rebuttal, I'd bring up all the benefits from the Niagara Falls, too. Just saying.
But like
Electricity.
this wonder of the world incorporates the entire history of the planet for a start. So you've got basically all of the complex atoms, elements, minerals, and stuff that were formed in our star and other stars. So we've got like intergalactic history.
So much editing. Sorry, go on.
That's all right. We got intergalactic history inherent in the Earth's crust. All of like heavy elements, like zinc and tin and copper and stuff, which have to be formed in other stars, like fused together and then jettisoned, from God knows where, and they all ended up in it as well. So that's pretty fucked up. And then you've also got like its present condition containing all of said wonders of the world, even the oldest ones, which we might mention. I don't know, like probably Grand Canyon or
Niagara
Niagara
Falls.
Falls or whatever else. But like, as far as history goes, we're talking more billions of years, that it's all been in formation, and it used to be one huge have a big landmass called Pangaea, and just unbelievably slowly, we're talking like a millimeter every 10,000 years of movement. But there's been enough time that it's all broken away, and that's formed obviously you've got the thing where Africa slots into South America, and that kind of amazing that kind of distance that can be reached. And where two things were kind of combined, and it was one big plate, technically one big country, as we call it now. It's been separated into two different continents with two different climates, and whole different cultures have evolved, and it shaped world history because obviously that gap was not breached, until thousands of years after civilizations evolved around the Africa area. And it splits species, and it splits soil types, and it splits fucking everything. And not to mention all of the fucking, tectonic activity, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, which again aren't good, but they're still a wonder, a spectacle to behold. And obviously any fucking, time we've seen a tsunami or an earthquake or whatever, it's stops you in your tracks.
You basically picked all the wonders.
Well, I think it's
But if you sliced into the earth, it would be a timeline of the world's history.
Yeah, like a tree.
Yep.
yeah.
All right, that was a tough sell, but you didn't do bad.
Or a gobstopper. Because when you suck on them, it goes down into you see the layers.
That's history.
Yeah.
like a really unique wiener.
Dave's got a pretty cock.
Dave's got a pretty cock.
Dave Mader, I've never seen.
Dave Lafayette's too fickle for the rest of us. All right, Jeff.
Oh, okay, Stonehenge. It's the oldest.
I feel like I'm waking Jeff up every time.
I'm waiting for my turn.
All right,
It's the oldest of the ancient wonders. It was. It's even older than the pyramids. It's kind of cool that it's a formation. I think right now it's 86 stones or something like that. But it used to be more. It used to be a really cool structure. That was, people have thought that it's a calendar. People have thought it's a burial ground. The cool thing about it is all these stones are in the middle of a field. Where did all these stones come from? I've never been there, but
They came from Wales, funnily enough.
but that's far.
They rolled that shit.
So that's
a
really
lot.
far.
Wales, that weird country.
Yeah.
He doesn't like whales.
Don't put that on the internet.
No, he didn't mean a country. He just doesn't like those mammals that live in water.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys. Blow holes and shit.
And what's also just really cool is just that it's a burial ground. The Druids buried people there, and for deeper good. So it's all uneven as well. So and it's a place for spirituality for the Druids, and was a place for. We did all sorts of pagan traditions for the solstices and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like a cool place of ancient history, and especially in England. And it's also got lots of astronomical ties, which is for the time period is insane to think that humans could figure that out. So yeah.
There's one other thing as well. I once had to do this summer school where Italian and Spanish a lot of my kids came across, and we taught them around places in England. And basically I was in charge of kind of taking them places and telling them stuff about it, even though I wasn't an expert in fucking Stonehenge or anything.
Right.
But anyway, I told them where the power slide was invented.
The power slide?
Yeah, the power slide. I told them there was once a band called Spinal Tap who had a massive concert. And it was raining, and it was really muddy, and the lead guy got up from his guitar and fucking slid on his knees around the mud, and then there was the birth of the power slide, and they were like, "Whoa, that's really interesting."
Stonehenge.
So how did it get there? What's the answer of it?
It's like how they made the pyramids.
So very similar. Is you guys probably seen it, right?
Easter Island.
Easter
Right?
Island, yep.
It's very similar stories. I'm not sure if anybody know more about that sort of stuff.
I think Easter Island head's a lot bigger than we think they are. Do they go? Or is that just a gag I saw in a movie?
It's just they're quite huge.
Are they a wonder of the world, the Easter Island?
Yeah, they're on some.
But they're just carved statues. What's amazing about that?
Well, who did them?
Somebody carved a bunch of fucking statues, and we don't know who the fuck made them. Who made them? Was it aliens?
Huge.
Was it
No,
a tribe?
it was probably people.
Yeah, but who? Which people?
I don't know. We don't know. It doesn't matter.
That's the mystery. That's what's cool about it.
Well, it was probably some people or
What? Some people? Who? The Canadians?
No.
They could pull it off.
I don't know. Like, so some islanders probably like.
All right, well then fucking say that, smarty. Some people.
There's not many people live in the island. It's like
Some
you know,
people.
so they're all
They were sailing
but
around.
maybe
They
there
were
was,
like,
like-
hey, let's stop here and make some statues.
okay.
Dude, but they're like perfectly lined up. Like it's
Fucking
just like
they're huge.
the way that they're made is just it's unreal.
No. Okay. Well, sure.
Yeah, they're
Is that
absolutely right.
impressed?
Yeah, absolutely
Niagara
right.
Falls.
It's not a
better.
big fucking waterfall, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not too impressed
There's-
with the Stonehenge.
There are no other big waterfalls.
You can't
the
go
world.
over in a barrel in East Island.
No, you can't. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I picked.
Great Wall of China.
Oh yeah.
That's not so amazing.
It's not bad.
Jim's just like, I don't give a shit.
You could fucking see it from space. It's the only thing in the Earth that you can identify and see from space.
Apart from my dick.
Well,
Liam Neeson's cock.
but I gotta say this.
Didn't really work.
What, the Great Wall?
Yeah, it didn't really work.
I don't know why people walk all over it all the time, but I gotta say this.
It's a great walkway, but it didn't really
If-
it didn't keep the Mongolians out, or the Huns rather. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Goddamn Mongolian.
If you put Jeff on it, you could see Jeff from space on the Great Wall of China, and he would win that question. So there's my
Huh?
argument.
Like it's a big wall. I'll give it that.
Great.
The waterfall, the Niagara Falls.
Is
the
this
most
the
amazing.
wall of water?
Yeah.
I think.
Is it as amazing as Niagara Falls? I don't think so.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Like
I've made love to Dave underneath Niagara Falls. So.
this is a natural wonder of the world. All these other things are like.
Yeah, because Benny's isn't natural.
Hang on,
Well, Benny's is like
I think
cheap.
Niagara Falls got some kind of human jiggery pokery in it.
He basically like picked like the universe. Though it's
I
like
didn't.
He didn't. You
picked
picked
the Earth's
the, no,
crust.
he didn't
yeah,
pick
but
the
you're like
universe.
all the.
No.
They picked
You,
all the
you,
wonders.
you picked the universe much earlier in the show.
Right. I don't know. Like it's the wonder. It's the waterfall. Let's what else you can say?
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they make power. It's got benefits like hydroelectric. Like this light is powered by Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
This is the
really.
red one.
All the lights in
It
this,
is.
in this city.
It's got benefits.
It's got
Do I get
hydroelectric power?
Do I get healthcare from it? Do I get dental?
It's lights with benefits.
Yeah, lights put through power. They harnessed the electricity.
Which is the wonder that was invented.
Okay. All right, Dave, you're shit.
I was right. I was probably right. You win. I thought you were gonna say that. I feel like if Seymour was hosting, I would win this.
That doesn't help your fucking.
Well, he's not. So,
Wait till Jody hears that. Well, of course you would.
Because I'm
Jim, is there anything else you'd like to add about the Great Wall?
Because
It's great.
It's Chinese.
Chris,
Yeah, Chinaman made it.
Chris would do this. Chris would go, well, I've been to Niagara Falls, so I like that one the most.
And he's right. My lights are powered by it.
I can see it, so yeah. In an hour, I can see it.
Yeah, and it helps me. So that's the best
This is
wonder.
a tough one, man. This is a hard one for me to figure out.
It's me.
What's the most? I already told you you're
Oh,
out.
I know, but I thought you'd reconsider.
Hang on, in case I got confused, we put extra scratch marks there. All right, what's the most like? What is the one thing? Well, Jim, you kind of said it already, but like, what is the single most distinctive thing of your your wonder?
It's the only identifiable landmark from space.
That is a big one.
Well,
Yours?
see what else you can see from space.
Ooh. Yeah, but you don't get to see. But you don't get to see.
Yeah, but
the
you can be
finer
like, yeah,
points.
that's the world, it's round. But
Like, can't you see
the
like
Great Wall, you're like,
Don't
there's
see all
the
that,
fucking
that's
Great
You
Wall.
can't see the finer points.
Can you not like see Mount Everest from space? And,
Well, hang on a minute. With today's telescopic
You can
and
see a lot
photographic
of shit
technology,
from
you can
space.
absolutely see
See everything from
from
you can
space.
see like
Yeah.
your house
Go on Google Earth.
Okay, but if you're just looking at it like a
out of
generic,
a window.
like a generic view.
If you're in a fucking space shuttle getting launched out to go to the moon and you look out and you're like, hey, there's the fucking Great Wall of China.
Jeff,
Mine's the oldest. So, well, I don't concur that his answer. 'Cause his answer is everyone's answer, or like it's like Stonehenge is a part of the Earth's crust. So I guess
he's like the greatest wonder of the world is the world.
Well, no, but I mean, that was like deliberately formed by a species and blah blah blah. So that's different. That's great.
true. So yeah, I would say mine's the oldest.
I'm giving this one to Jim.
Jim.
I gave it to Jim.
Jim didn't even want it.
You wanted to
Jim didn't even want it.
I wanted it. I had the
Maybe
fucking
that's his
waterfall.
tactics.
I'm giving this one to Jim.
I picked the hometown Jerry McRae.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
Well, yeah, well, you knew
Was he
that.
born there?
Yeah. He was born on the fall.
Yeah,
Is that a
like,
fact?
Was he born in that barrel?
In the fall?
His mom.
In Niagara Falls City?
All right. Wild card. What is the worst chain restaurant? Dave.
Red Lobster.
And why is that?
You've gone there a bunch of times.
I want to go to Red Lobster.
You know what's wrong with Red Lobster? Too much butter. Okay? Too many calories at Red Lobster. And, like, Canadian Red Lobster maybe is okay, but American Red Lobster is shit. Right? I went to an American Red Lobster. Everything just comes covered in fucking grease and butter, and it looks like a big, saggy pile of poo. Right? Like, not to mention,
Yellow poo?
Yeah, yellow poo.
Was it good?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but you Yes and no. Yes and no. Like, it was like, it tastes good, but it's also like, after you eat it, you're like, oh, I feel like my heart is about to blow up. Right? Which I don't think is a good thing. I think it's
So you're going by the health aspect of what's
a little bit. I feel like it's overly indulgent. I think that their caloric like count on their meals is way too high.
Caloric. I've never heard that word.
Right.
I think the heart and soul of the question was like, what's a bad chain
And the
restaurant?
biscuits, too many. There's like 400 calories in each biscuit.
Who cares? They're fucking amazing.
I know they're amazing, but it's the worst, especially the American one.
Jim?
Pick Denny's.
Why is Denny's the worst?
It's like the default go-to when you've got nothing else. It's at best fast food sit down. That's where everybody goes when they're drunk, unless you've got some hometown greasy spoon. You know, you can eat for like what, $4.99,
So far, these are all programs.
$3.99, $2.99. And unlike Red Lobster, the food is not that great. It's bland, has no taste to it.
They have like eggs and bacon. Like they have simple things. Like it's hard to fuck them up.
There's lots of calories and butter they cook with.
Open late.
Like I said, yeah, they're open late, so it's the shithole everybody goes to if you're hungry in the middle of the night because you have no fucking choice. That's all I got to say about that.
They have good advertising.
They do.
Jeff?
I picked IHOP. IHOP sucks. I've gone to IHOP a bunch of times. It's terrible.
It's international.
It has gotten by just by saying, "Hey, we have pancakes. They kind of suck, but come here." Like when you go there, you get like instead of getting like regular condiments or whatever, you get like an assortment of syrups, which are just like basically not good.
You know how many syrups you get at Denny's? One.
One, yeah. Well, you get like 4 at IHOP, and you don't want any of them.
You know how many syrups you get at Red Lobster? None.
You get butter.
The breakfast is especially bad. The pancakes are terrible. The whole
It's expensive
It's
there.
expensive. I've never understood why it was a good place to go. It's a terrible breakfast restaurant. It's a terrible chain in general. I almost picked the Waffle House, but I think waffles are better than pancakes, so I went with that.
Same thing. Bacon and eggs. Hard to fuck up.
No,
IHOP
they
has
fuck it
biscuits,
up.
Or IHOP has chicken and waffles.
That's awful. It's terrible.
You ever had chicken and waffles?
Yeah, but I wouldn't get it from IHOP.
You ever had it from chicken Waffle?
Waffle House, yes, but IHOP, no.
Is it with gravy or syrup?
Butter.
Too much butter.
All right, Benny.
I picked, there's an Italian chain restaurant called Zizzi's. The wave of Italian restaurants that have made their way around the UK, because there's a bunch as well. Probably more like chain Italians than any other like type of chain, but you've got the key kind of Carluccio's, which is at the top. Which that's proper Italian food. I mean, if it's not your style, fair enough. But you can get carbonara, which is obviously made with it's made with decent quality parmesan, and obviously you can get a fancy pizza there. Stuff with artichoke hearts. I'll say I don't eat a lot of Italian, so I'm kind of reaching there. But the point being, the dishes you get are a bit inventive. And they've got good, fine quality ingredients and stuff. Now you're gonna pay about 25 to 30 quid a head in this place, which amounts to about 50-60 bucks. But that's that. Now you go down, you get kind of downgraded it. You got a place called Prezzo, which is it's not like as fancy schmancy. It's pretty box standard Italian. So you can get pizza, pasta, whatever. But they're all right. Again, it's £25 a head, which is a bit expensive for what it is, because Italians all over like.
But
the
then you
cheap
get
ingredients.
ZZ's.
Yeah, wait for it.
Who did Benny pick?
ZZ's, British Italian.
Yeah. So that's Prezzo, and then you go down one more to Bella Italia, and that's when your life starts getting pretty fucked up because they've got exactly the same. Like they got the pizza, the pasta, whatever, but it starts getting kind of tacky and cheap. Like you just can tell.
Is this like Olive Garden
cheese.
kind of a thing, or like?
Quite possibly, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Olive Garden's bad.
And like Bella Italia as well. Like
Good breadsticks.
they don't even bother to try and give it kind of Italian flair. It's just got like. It's just got Miley Cyrus playing on the speaker or whatever. And,
She's not Italian.
She's one pebble throw away from being a fucking porn star.
Yeah, we already established this last week. But
She's not even.
she's not Italian. Anyway, that's the point. I mean, it's not Italian food music. There's no ambience. It's cheap jack ingredients. Like it's basically what a student would make if they were trying to make Italian food. Like your pizza bases are wishy-washy, shitty-ass tomatoes from a can, and you can fucking taste them from a can, and not even like a good quality can brand. The can where it kind of tastes a bit like can. And I mean the waiting staff and all the ones I've been to, and also I try to avoid them mostly, but 3 or 4 maybe, like pretty much non-existent. So like I wait a good while in all of the places, the ZZ's I've been, probably because they're all like either getting high in the back to make up the fact they work at ZZ's. And they have those kind of open, where you can see the kitchen as well. But the problem is they've like not thought about the kind of presentation, and they're all just like there's stuff everywhere. The guy's picking the noses while they're making the food. They've just got like dirty fucking boiler suits and shit on instead of like trying to dress in a nice stripy shirt or whatever. And it's just fucking it's cack.
It's cack.
Yeah. And like it's Italian food, right? So you're supposed to like the kind of place you can take a chick on a date, but like if you want to get any pussy, don't go to don't take the other one to ZZ's.
that should win it.
That's a warning for all of you out there.
What's the worst thing you've ever had at IHOP, Jeff? Hands down, what was the worst thing?
Just everything. I mean, just
their
regular.
the single worst thing you
Their
ever
regular
had.
breakfast. Their home fries are terrible. They're really dry and like just not good. Like they're just crappy. I don't understand. It's not like it's like like I couldn't eat it, but it's like I don't want to eat it.
What's the single worst thing you've ever had?
That's ZZ's. I can't remember. I think it had a pretty fancy name, this dish. But the dish was spaghetti, little small pieces of tomato, and then it seemed like tap water. I'm hoping it wasn't.
I'm gonna give a tie to Jeff and Benny for this one.
IHOP is pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah, IHOP is fucking bad.
That was awful.
I fucking love that.
Really?
Did I win?
No.
Is that mixed up?
Dave and Jim, you've been knocked out. It's Jeff and Benny, and for the speed round.
All right, good, because I'm going to bed.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to the speed round. We're gonna try to make this quick. All right, it's Jeff and Benny. Moving on. Movies. Which franchise ensemble? And these are all going to be, off the cuff. Which franchise ensemble had the better later careers, Star Wars or Star Trek? You have to shout out at one and defend it.
Star Trek.
So you have to pick Star Wars.
Okay.
All right. Why did the Star Trek have a better later career?
So are we talking about just in general all the movies, or are we talking about?
I'm gonna go original TV.
Okay.
Star Trek.
But like this is the movie question, right?
Yeah. This is
okay.
movie.
So like it starts off really bad with Star Trek 1. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's terrible. Then it's really good with Star Trek 2, right? One of the best movies probably ever made as far as that genre goes. And then it kind of is okay with Star Trek 3. Kind of sucks. It's not very good.
It's not that bad.
It's not very good.
I think it gets a bad rap.
I think it's just not very good.
What's wrong with it? Like, what?
Lots.
We're not answering that question.
Star Trek 4, a lot of people
Okay,
hate.
but this is
a lot of
after.
people love.
But this is
You know?
after Star Trek. This is what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
Oh, so you're saying that as like the series and what they... Okay,
It started off really like bad and good, and then it was kind of mulled in the middle, I would say, and then it came back really strong, sort of with Undiscovered Country. The Final Frontier sucks. So that's the thing with Star Trek is the even numbers are good.
There's no consistency.
But the even numbers are good movies, and the odd numbers are really bad movies. And so that's the thing. And there's more odd number movies than even number movies.
What about past Star Trek though?
Like what are you talking about? The actors?
Yeah, as a whole, were their careers?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Harrison Ford compared to William Shatner or the New Boy isn't really a fair comparison. But
Well, that's the question though.
is it?
Yeah,
What's
argue
the
it.
question?
Which ensemble cast had the better later career, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, I didn't hear you say cast.
I thought you meant more like which movies got better.
No, I mean like their once their franchise was done, what later on?
Well, like
Shatner was on a bajillion shows. He was
Okay.
on Boss of Legal and like all these. They still like a couple of years ago he had his own sitcom and then that failed.
Okay.
You know, so Leonard Nimoy was continued to do Star Trek Next Gen. He did lots of voiceover work. He was on Fringe.
Okay.
It's a good show.
Yeah, he did voiceover work for video games.
Okay.
Transformers.
He was in Star Trek.
Yeah, he was the voice of Galvatron.
Yeah. So that's what I would go with. Yeah, with those points.
Star Wars, success of the cast afterwards, fucking hell, man. Mark Hamill, obviously, everyone loves him from the Star Wars anyway, but then went on to become the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series, which is fucking award-winning, and it's epic. Like, he's wicked in that.
His
Carrie-
voice is the Joker.
Yeah. Carrie Fisher, fucking, she was good in Blues Brothers. Everyone loves that. And Kev's series, like Strike Back, she's pretty awesome. I don't really know what else she's done. Fucking Harrison Ford, you know, one of the biggest actors of all time.
What's Chewbacca?
What do you mean he's one of the very best actors of all time?
That is a good Harrison Ford.
Mumbler.
The Mumbler. That's only in interviews. Not when he's acting.
That's what he's like in real life. Like,
I know.
In general.
He's a
It's like
mumbler.
when he punches somebody, he always looks really scared afterwards. He's like,
But you know, Air Force One, fucking, well, I don't need to list Harrison Ford's fucking movies, it's Harrison Ford.
I wouldn't go to Air Force One first. My first movie.
I'm thinking of like at least 5 different ones.
For some reason, that's always like, you think Harrison Ford movie. Like,
Get
Air
off
Force
my
One.
plane.
I think I've watched it a shitload of times, though. Oh, James Earl Jones. I mean, I know it's just his voice and stuff, but like, didn't he do a bunch of other like voice work as well?
Mm-hmm.
And my ultimate favourite rendition of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, as read by him in The Simpsons. And everyone loves that.
That's true.
Nevermore.
Exactly.
Benny gets it. Alright, TV. Who is the best supporting character on Batman the Animated Series, Joker not included?
I don't know. Harley
Alfred.
Quinn.
Okay.
Alfred.
Why was Alfred the best supporting character?
Alfred's always a good character anyway, but fucking the thing with like, is it Kevin Conroy who does Batman's voice?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with Kevin Conroy's...
Efren Zimbalist Jr. was Alfred.
the factoid.
La-di-da.
Kevin Conroy's Batman is like, obviously, he's the Cape Crusader through and through, which is still kind of good, you know, pretty well achieved considering the cartoon and everything. But he's got that humorless thing of Batman and, you know, the business first and, oh, I've got a tragic past and no parents and whatever. Yeah, he is. But like the Alfred in that animated series is just like, he's the yin to his yang, and he's like always quipping and doing these, he's really sarcastic. Obviously he's, you know, you still get the family tie because he's always talking about that. You get the fact that he's got his back. He always sounds, I mean, the guy who voice acts him, as you mentioned, like really sincere and, you know, as caring of Batman as you like want him to be as well. And he's, I mean, the guy who played Alfred in like Tim Burton's Batman's and then
Michael Gough.
Yeah. He was good too. And to me, the animated one was like probably the closest to his rendition of that character as well. But as I say, he's got like the sarcastic tendencies, and I really like the kind of the differences in humor and the lack of humor between those two. And like he's the source of kind of a lot of comedy relief in the animated series, which he wasn't necessarily in like a lot of the other Batman stuff.
All right.
Oh, okay, so Harley Quinn, I picked her because, well, this show birthed her. You know, she would not exist if not for this show. You said don't pick the Joker, and it's because the Joker is one of the best characters on that show, and without the Joker, there'd be no Harley Quinn. And, you know, almost kind of vice versa in how that good that show was with her, that character. Everyone's excited for Suicide Squad, mainly, I think, because of Harley Quinn, even more so than the Joker. I think this character, you know, was unique, was a great rendition on that idea of a jester instead of the Joker card and that character, so they could really dive into a different type of torture with the Joker and getting her to become someone completely different. Like her whole backstory is fascinating, with her having to go to Arkham Asylum because she needs to go there to figure out crazy people, and she's just so interested in it that she goes nuts, falling in love with the Joker, and their whole relationship is fucked up. Let's say, and the animated series birthed that whole thing in the comics, and I think it's just a classic character, and it's kind of crazy that it came out of this show.
Jeff gets the point.
Yeah.
Oh my
I agree.
There is no Batman without Alfred. Alfred is the fucking definition of a fucking supporting character.
I know, but I liked Alfred and Zimbalist, but I don't know, Alfred never stood out to me that much on the cartoon.
Without Alfred, there's no Batman. Without no Batman, there's no Joker. With no Joker,
I know,
there's
but
no
they
Harley
created
Quinn.
this character that had such a lasting impact.
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell. Yeah.
So
I'll go with Joe on that one.
all right, sports. Michael Jordan, according to Internet List, has the greatest nickname in sports with Air, Michael Air Jordan. Gretzky is at number 2 with the great one. Does Michael Jordan have the best nickname in sports, or is Gretzky more deserving? If neither, then who has the best sports nickname?
I'll go with Jordan.
I'm gonna go with the answer.
You're gonna go with the what?
The answer. Allen
the answer,
Iverson.
Oh! All right.
Just because he was so cocky about it, and he was like the one player that had the biggest mouth, and he's like, I'm the answer. What's Paul Pierce's name? He calls it
Truth.
The truth. The same thing to
Well,
me.
you stole
It's
that from someone else.
But you're doing Allen Iverson.
I know I'm doing Allen Iverson, but it's like, this is the guy who said, we're talking about practice, it encompasses him. I'm the answer. I mean, it's not as marketable as Air Jordan I think the great one was never really marketable. It's just what everyone calls him. But I think that's why Michael Jordan tops that list, because everyone knows Air Jordan, the company, more than even calling him Air Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where it came from, though?
Well, totally. That's where it came
The company was... The shoe was branded as Air Jordan. Before he was Air.
Before he was named Air Jordan?
I'm almost positive.
Oh, really? I thought it was Michael Air Jordan. And then, I mean, they're probably pretty close to each other.
They called him Air because he just fucking...
They called Vince
I mean,
Carter.
that was with the Jumpman logo and shit as well. After
Unlock your phone.
after
I
he
want to
did
see
that.
when it came.
What?
I'm curious. Unlock your phone.
For what?
I want to see when he actually really was dubbed it.
So you're defending Jordan?
I got 14.
I'll go with Air Jordan because, to me, he's the greatest in that sport anyway. And it's so simple. It's a 3-letter word. And it goes, it just slots so nicely into just Air Jordan, or Michael Air Jordan. And it immediately describes the entire idea of an incredible basketball player and then the entire, reason why people went crazy for that guy. Because, if you watch him play, he does fucking fly. They had the big series in the 90s, all the posters and the shoes and everything, flight and fucking... the meaning of flight, and it's just pictures of Jordan everywhere. He was always he was seamlessly associated with the idea of air, and it also got changed up to his a kind of subsidiary of that nickname was his Royal Airness, which is fucking awesome. That's fucking cool as hell.
Giving that to Benny.
Benny gets that one.
All right, music. What's the best song that features a girl's name as the title?
You got one?
Lola.
Lola. Why
It's
is
a
Lola?
good story. And I like it.
Okay.
It's a good show.
I'll pick Jenny by the Flight of the Conchords. Have you heard that?
No.
Oh, it's really... Jenny is it's a 7-minute song, and basically it's a story. It's basically these two, Brett and Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords both take on a persona of two people talking to each other. Jermaine is Jenny, but you find that out till a while into the song. And basically, she mistakes him for an ex-boyfriend of hers, who she has had a child and everything else, and like he remembers nothing about, because it's not him, but he he remembers nothing about her or like any of the things they did together, and he's just kind of trying to pass it off. It's like, oh yeah, I think I remember. I mean, there's no fucking way I can describe how the song goes down.
Yeah.
You just literally have to see it.
Jeff gets that
Oh,
one. Sorry.
If you heard the song, you wouldn't be saying that.
All right.
What did he say? It was a nice story?
That was a good story. I like
Good
it.
story. I like it.
Mine had that too. Mine was a good story, and it was
I got
funny.
bored.
and-
I played it.
All right. History. Should the U.S. abolish the penny like Canada? Yes or no?
No. I like that. It's kind of cool. It's kind of different in the States where I go there. I'm like, they use pennies here. I'm like, that's kind of interesting, you know? Like, I'm like, go back home. It's like, fuck the penny. There's only nickels now. But in the States, you still see Lincoln. Because you would see him on a $5 bill too, but you still see him on a copper coin. So it's kind of cool.
Well, so I have to argue yes.
You have to.
Fuck. All right. Well, because pennies, you need 1,000 of them before you've got anything worth, any money worth enough to buy anything.
Like $10. Either.
And it'll take you, even if you do, it'll take you like 7 or 8 years. And you've got to keep them in a jar somewhere, not fucking drop them. You find them in the couch and your pocket and inside your fucking car and like everywhere else. They're much more of a nuisance than they're kind of worth.
People think it's good luck.
Seen with 1 cent.
You find a penny.
Yeah,
We're
that's
going
bullshit.
to live in a world
Find
where
a penny, pick it up. All the day you'll have good luck.
Yeah, but that's bullshit. Found a penny and had a shit day.
Was it heads up or tails down?
Oh, I can't remember.
Do they still use, what is it, pence? in England?
Yeah, we've got the penny as well. Like, they just lay around and they're the dirtiest fucking coin in Christendom. Pennies like go through every hobo's hand and like you have to be a certain class to handle 50s and 100s and whatever. But anyone can handle a fucking penny. Like a bum could be picking his teeth with it, like just before you pick it. But just before you see it on the street and go, "Ooh, how lucky am I?"
It's so bad that even the bums don't want them.
Yeah, it's had probably like dog piss on it and stuff, and I say you can check the fucking year, and it's like 1987. Like you don't know how many nasty ass situations that penny's been in. You're gonna touch that shit and then probably touch your face.
You touch 100 of those, put it in a roll of quarters, roll like a roller, go to the bank, and then you go buy Coke.
Exactly. I don't want to spend that much of my life.
And if you put a roll of pennies
focused
in
on
your
pennies.
hand and hit somebody, you can hit harder.
But you would not have had that
Yeah, but
Coke
you can do that with
if you
other
didn't go
places,
through
yeah.
that experience of touching all those nasty pennies.
Benny gets it. That was fucking funny, dude. All right,
Are we in
last
sudden
question.
death?
What?
Are we in sudden death?
No, we're not in sudden death. 'Cause
What's
we're
the
not-
score?
It's Benny has 6 and Jeff has 5, so we might go into sudden death depending on this next one.
Jeff needs a tie.
All right. Who wins the fight? King Kong or Godzilla? Both are scaled at 150 feet in height. Like they're the same height.
That's crazy.
Or we
King
go
Kong.
Godzilla.
All right. Why does King Kong win?
You should have looked at Dylan's shirt before you
Opposable
In
answered.
fact, I'm going to ask you, Godzilla. Why does Godzilla have a opposable thumb?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but are they like proper size or are they just like short lizard ones?
Nah, he's got thumbs.
Okay.
I've seen enough of these.
Not the classic
And he has
Godzilla.
claws on the
Alright.
end of those.
I just
thumbs.
think King Kong, because he's a mammal as opposed to a lizard type of thing, is a lot more like ambidextrous and agile. He's got like a better muscle structure. Plus, obviously, he's warm-blooded instead of cold-blooded, so it's like his. If they went into it,
I could get so nerdy right now, but I won't.
well, yeah, I'm preaching this
Light
to
and
you.
nerdy?
But like, if they had a long, lengthy battle, which is pretty likely since they're both fucking titans of our industry, then like Godzilla's gonna start waning. Especially considering the time of day. Whereas King Kong is probably going to be, he's eating plenty of bananas and like captured princesses. He's going to be able to keep it up for a good while.
King Kong digs chicks.
He can, he can climb up buildings and swat a plane while he's up a building. I don't think.
But he's much bigger than he was in his first appearance.
I think King Kong can be easily distracted. I always see Godzilla. It always seems like he knows what he's up to. He knows what he's doing.
Focus.
He has focus.
Godzilla's focus?
That's
All he does is go around and go,
Yeah.
Well, that's better than
Yeah.
King Kong, who's like, I want to climb up a building because I got a girl, and then I'm gonna,
Godzilla doesn't care about.
I'm sad
He doesn't
King
care about
Kong.
He
anybody.
doesn't care. He's like, I got a plan, and I'm just gonna run down the street and yell at people.
But they're fighting. So what does it come down to?
I think Godzilla has got spikes, all over his body, right? Like he's got claws.
So it's just on the back.
Well,
it's just
yeah.
on his
So
back.
if King Kong jumps onto his back,
Well, he's not gonna do that.
why wouldn't he? That
Well,
seems like a
he'd
King
like
Kong
get-
thing to do.
It'd be really pointy. He'd probably learn after his first time. He'd get some cuts and whatever. But he'd be like,
King Kong
I'm
has
gonna go
more
around
rational
front.
thinking.
Like in the King Kong movie, he took on a dinosaur, but that was pretty hard. I don't know if he could take down Godzilla. Godzilla seems smarter than a dinosaur.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
I'm actually gonna give it to Benny.
I don't know shit about Godzilla. But I do
I'm
know-
giving it to Chet. Like if you had said like he breathes fucking fire,
Atomic breath.
you would have had it, and you left out the most important part. I can't believe it. I'm the fucking biggest Godzilla fan, and
Yeah, I'm not a big Godzilla fan.
Hey, Benny, one of
I
the
haven't even seen the new movie.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
not perfect. It's got problems. But.
I knew what you were gonna say. Go ahead.
Benny won.
Benny
Benny
won.
won on his first try. Is what you were gonna say.
Yeah. Good episode. Okay, cheers.
So good episode. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time where I will not be the host. It will be somebody
Thanks
else.
for hosting, Dylan.
My pleasure. And, we don't even need exit music this time.
Yeah, there'll be exit music. All right, guys, signing off. Have a great night.